Well, you're number one for hip hop and R&B, 94.1 The Beat. The show me CJ the DJ. And right now on the line, I got rapper, TV personality, Miss Chanel West Coast. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. So first and foremost, for the folks who are so eager to know, man, you coming to Savannah this
Yes.
weekend, performing live at Club Elon.
Yep. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Haha. So for the folks who've never been to a Chanel West Coast show before, what can the people expect?
They can expect it to be lit as, am I allowed to curse on here? I don't know.
Yeah, we got the button.
Okay, perfect. It's gonna be lit as yeah, I really turn up at my shows. Like I love it to be like a party. I'm not one of those people who comes to the club and then I just pop in for 5 seconds and I leave right away. Like I'm usually the last person in there afterwards. They're like, Chanel, we closing, like you gotta go. So that's how my shows be. Like if they're extra lit, I make it like a party. I love to turn up with my fans and make them feel like, like we're friends.
Okay. Shots on you. That's all I heard just now. That's all I
Yep.
heard. So, man, I want to ask on behalf of the listeners. I saw this as a meme, but I want to ask, man, what kind of dirt do you and Rob have on MTV to make them play Ridiculousness so much?
Oh my God. I don't know. I listen, you know what? I think that we just got real blessed and lucky with, it was crazy times. And during the pandemic, it was hard for new shows to start and for new productions to start. And so what happened during the pandemic was, I think a lot of shows that were already there, they were like, we got to just keep this going because it was hard to start up, new things. And I think we just got really blessed with this pocket of being during the pandemic. MTV was like, we can't start up a bunch of new shows right now, but we have this going. And also our show, it's much easier to shoot through a pandemic because it's just three of us. We could space out on stage and on the couches, stay 6 feet apart, and it's much easier to shoot a show like that. So I think that we just got really blessed in these times to get way more episodes because it's an easy show to shoot.
Yeah. I mean, you were obviously working during the pandemic. So,
Yeah.
I want to ask, you're a person with a lot of titles, TV personality, rapper, singer, songwriter, actress, model. What came first?
Music. That's what I've always done. Like I started with dancing as a little girl, and I started hip hop dancing at 7 years old. And I was in like competitive like hip hop drill team, and we did mad competitions. Like the drill team I was on, we were always winning first place. So I grew up performing and kind of in that winning mindset when it comes to dancing and performing. And the hip hop dance kind of led into music because I also wrote poetry since I was a little girl. Like I just wrote poems. That was like something I did. And so then, once I was like 12, 13, it kind of hit me like poetry, hip hop, let's put it together and start rapping. And so I started doing music first. And that's kind of what led me to actually meeting Rob Deerdeck. And then I got on TV.
And it's just been up from there. Like you got
Yep.
so many different hats. Do you ever feel like one of your other lanes sometimes have to take back seats to like another? Like, do you ever feel like modeling and acting may take a back seat to music may take a back seat to TV or things like that?
Yeah, well, definitely, as you could see, we film a lot of episodes of Ridiculousness. So it's been a little bit of a setback for really the rest of my career for my music, acting, because we have a really crazy filming schedule. So, and per my contract, Ridiculousness comes first. So everything I do has to pretty much work around that schedule. So I've had to pass up a couple really great tour opportunities and things like that. But at the end of the day, I make it all work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, TV has like made you a household name. I mean, when you think about Ridiculousness, or even if you want to go back to like Fantasy Factory, people get to see you in certain lights. Do you feel like TV has kind of like helped you more with your music career, or do you feel like it kind of like hinders you with your music career because you got to give so much time to it?
Uh, Man, it's a tough question. It's like both. It kind of evens itself out. Definitely, I think that Ridiculousness, it's a funny, happy show. So you're gonna see me happy, smiling all the time, except for maybe the one time when me and Charlemagne got into it. But other than that, it's like you only really see one side of my personality. And there's a lot more to me than that. Also, I'm on a show with guys. So when you're the only girl with guys, you tend to come off like more cutesy, more sweet. Like I'm the only girl with the guys, you know, but I'm a strong woman. And I know that when I'm with other women, I know I've always been like a bit of a leader, like my whole life. And I feel like people don't really get to see that side of me, that strong side. And maybe they don't understand, why is this sweet little girl who's always giggling, why is she a rapper? You know, they don't know about my life. They don't know, you know, where I come from or anything like that. So I think that in some ways that people only get to see one side of me, so that kind of hurts me. But I also think that obviously being exposed to so many people is a great thing. Like that's how I started doing gigs. I first started getting booked just to host. And I was like, what does that mean? I was like, what does hosting mean? I'm like, let me perform. And so through getting these hosting gigs from being on TV, I started being, you know, performing. And so it's helped me, but also I think it hasn't really exposed my full personality and who I am as an artist.
Yeah. Do you feel like your music is the best way for your fans to get to know you outside of your TV persona?
Yes, especially on my latest album, which I called it. It's funny you said like you're a household name. That's why I called my album America's Sweetheart, because so many people, like I'll be in the airport traveling. People are like, "Oh my God, you know what? You're like America's sweetheart." And so many people would say that to me that it kind of hit me. I was like, I guess that's kind of like my thing. Like I'm America's sweetheart on this like, you know, really popular show. And so that's why I called my album that. And I really wanted to go in on this album. And that was also why I called it that, because I am a sweetheart and I am sweet, but I wanted to talk about a lot more of my life and what I've been through and show that you can be sweet, but also be a tough woman and withstand a lot of things in your life. And you know, I wanted to show way more of like my story on this album. I think in the past I did like a lot of like party songs, love songs, but like there's a lot more like very like lyrical raps on this album where I'm like go in more detail about like the shit I've been through in my life pretty much.
Yeah, I know we got to see your non-sweetheart side when you and Charlamagne got into it, man. Now you've been like someone who's caught a lot of criticism despite having like co-signs from like Wayne and Young Money and all of that. Why do you think that is?
Honestly, I've had this problem like my whole life, you know, like it's just haters. That's what I think it is, you know. Sometimes like I just think that people maybe, I think what it is too is like I said, I'm always so happy and smiling that maybe people are like jealous of like this joy they think I have. And it's like people don't realize like I've had a really hard life, and one of the ways I've coped with things in my life is comedy. I feel like God actually blessed me with ridiculousness because God was like, you need to laugh. God was like, you need to laugh some things off. And that's why I think I got blessed with this, because I have been through a lot. And I think that sometimes people are not happy in their lives. So when they see somebody who's like really happy, they get jealous or something. And it's like, little do they know, like, little do they know, like, it's not all smiles, you know, like there's been a lot of tears in my life too. So that's what I hope people will take the time to eventually, you know, listen to my music, get to know more my story. Cause I feel like a lot of the people who hate on me, like I go and look at their pages and stuff, like haters on Instagram. I'm like, you would be my friend in high school. Like you look like somebody I'd hang out with, you know? And it's like, I think a lot of these people don't realize like they could relate to me more if they spend less time hating on me, you know?
Yeah. You know, I actually, it's funny you say that because you got a song on your album called 40-Yard Dash, and you just recently dropped the video too, where you kind of spoke on or addressed, you know what I'm saying, the folks who hating on you, trolling on you and stuff.
Yep.
How did that record come together?
Well, really, I knew I wanted to make a football themed record.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very visual person, and I just had this cute idea of like doing a football themed video. And I wanted to make a song where I was like, I wanted the theme to be like, I run this shit. And I wanted it to have a metaphor that was like, I run it. Like, this is how hard I'm running this shit. And so me and my boy, we were in the studio together, and he kind of helped me come up with the concept. And he's like, you run that shit like a 40-yard dash. I was like, boom. I was like, I do. And so then I started writing it, and I was like, yo, like, I'm just going to talk about the things that I feel like, you know, I feel like I wanted it to be catchy, but I also wanted to talk my shit on it.
Well, man, let's jump into some of that video right quick. You want to introduce it to the people?
Yes, this is my video for 40-yard dash. So get your fix of Football Sunday right now.
It's a on the beat, I had to bless her like booty.
Yeah, I just popped out, gotta pop up, gotta get a bag, get my stocks up. I'm looking for the check, you looking washed up. Pull up in a caddy, I'm a boss, yup. Off-white, Dior. I post a booty pic, they wanna see more. But I'm a lady, you ain't getting free shows. My do, I'm dirty, kick 'em like a field goal.
That's 40 Yard Dash off that America's Sweetheart album. You dropped it last year. Now, I know the pandemic affected a lot of artists differently. And I know you said you were busy, you know, still doing stuff with Ridiculousness. But what was 2020 like for you as far as your everything else you got going on? Because you're not just a rapper, you're not just an actress, you're not just a model. You got like 50, 11 things going on. So how do you do everything when everything is shut down?
Well, I will say that during the pandemic, I was mostly doing music because as soon as I knew we were about to be locked up inside, I literally got on Amazon like 2 days later and I was like, it's time for a home studio. I've never had a home studio set up. I grew up in LA, like, you know, in like near Hollywood. So from 15 years old, I was already finding like studios to work at and shit. And I never really needed like a home setup. And so as soon as the pandemic came, I'm like, okay, I can't be locked in my house and not able to make music. Like that's what I do. That's how I got into music. I expressed myself through music. So I went on Amazon, I ordered everything for the studio. And then as soon as like I got everything, I set up the studio and I just started going hard. And I basically spent like all my spare time making music during the pandemic. And I was like, I'm going to use this time wisely and just, you know, perfect my craft and make as many songs as I can. And that's how I ended up finishing my album.
Shout out. Now that things are opening back up and you see people starting to hit the road, like I said, you're going to be here in Savannah this weekend. Are there any artists that you would like to tour with if the opportunity presented itself?
Well, yeah, definitely Wayne. I'm sad that never came about. I've opened for Wayne, but I would love to tour with Wayne. He's just like the greatest person to perform with and open for. Like the energy is so good at his shows. Um, And if it was a female artist, it would be my dream to open for Gwen Stefani because she's like my idol. Like I remember as a little girl, like the first CD I bought was a No Doubt CD. And I remember when Gwen came out with Holla Back Girl, like it's funny because I started with hip hop, but I do love all types of music and I can see myself going from hip hop maybe to doing more like pop rock. So like the opposite of Gwen, you know, like where she started with more rock pop and then went into doing more hip hop. And her style is just so crazy too. Like she's like an icon to me. So like I've always looked up to her. I feel like that would be a really dope female to open for her.
Okay. Chanel West Coast, ladies and gentlemen, how can the people connect with you if they aren't already?
Chanel West Coast everywhere. Instagram Chanel West Coast, Facebook Chanel West Coast, Twitter Chanel West Coast, YouTube Chanel West Coast, and my website is iamchanelwestcoast.com.
Straight like that. And you can catch her this weekend, Elon, downtown Savannah, Georgia. Before we check out, is there anything you want to leave the people with?
You know, just stay about those positive vibes and spread love.
Straight like that, man. Keep it where you got it. It's 94.1 The Beat.